What is up, guys? This is Cobb, and welcome to one of my Chimera test runs. Man, the boss is live. It feels awesome. Actually, just really fun to run in against. It's a huge breath of fresh air from the headache that was getting involved in Hydra for the first time, at least for me, but it's easy to say that once you're a year into the game and you've got a ton of legendaries to play around with. Now, that said, this video is going to be all about budget champs that you could maybe look to bring into Chimera to get involved with the boss for the very first time, because as nice as it would be to have the likes of good old Glycad over here in a 9-piece protection set and stuff, you know, we're not all there yet. You know what I'm saying? So this is going to be one for the more free-to-play players, the more budget players, perhaps the newer players in the game that are looking to build champs for the future to take into Chimera. And so, yeah, let's get to it, man. So this first champ is one that I actually love because I recently used him when putting together somebody's team in a free-to-play account during like an account takeover, which was really fun to do. But good old Claude, Beast Feeder, man, just brings a whole load of buffs. He's really good into Demon Lord Clan Boss in the early game. Anyway, brings a decreased crit rate hitter on his A1, plus shield buff on all allies on 310 cooldown on his A2, lovely, and then just brings a good old increased speed buffer on a 310 as well on his A3. Just a great kind of all-rounder support champion that you can use into a billion areas in the game, in the super early game. He's only a magic affinity epic. He's not the hardest champion in the world to collect, and if you do grab him, he's going to help you out into, yeah, lots of areas, early Demon Lord and early Chimera to boot. Next up, we've got a champ that I would love to see somebody test out. I do not have a Signy of High Shield built out myself. She was a recent fusion component champion that some people did build out on their account, but you know, they didn't have the resources to actually finish the fusion, and she's got a very interesting kit as well. She has a double hitter A1 that, you know, heals a little bit for damage inflicted, but the thing is with Signy, and we're focusing mostly on support style champions in this video, but on a A2, it's an attack all enemies before attacking, 100% chance when bugged of removing one random debuff from all allies. Basically, all of the Chimera heads are kind of spamming out like hard crowd control and like the poisons coming out from the Viper, and there's a lot of stuff to be cleansing. It's going to be tough for your supports to keep up with, so having a Signy help out with this could be sweet. And after the attack, has a 100% chance of removing one random buff from all enemies as well. And so, you know what, the boss is buffing the crap out of itself with increased speed very often as well, I think across multiple forms. It's also stealing your buffs, I think, with the Viper form, and so this A2 could actually be fine. I'd love to hear some recommendations from you guys as well, by the way, champs that you feel like I'm overlooking. It's really exciting to be in this experimentation phase and just be thinking, you know, maybe this could work, maybe that could work. Another thing that could work in Signy's kit is actually her A3 with a reflect damage buff on all allies for a couple of turns as well. Reflect damage deals 500% bonus damage against the lion form of Chimera, and so it sort of remains to be seen how effective that's going to be and how exploitable that's going to be against the Chimera boss itself. Of course, you don't want the boss to be stealing your reflect damage buffs, so you're going to have to run Signy the High Shield alongside like a block buffs debuffer champion against the boss, so that doesn't happen. But reflect damage on the Signy, bit of buff cleanse, a bit of debuff cleanse. I don't know, man. Maybe she's a thing. Maybe she's a thing. I'd love somebody to test that out. Back into the Ogre tribes, we've got good old Ugo, because of course we have. I mean, Ugo's just good everywhere. Brings a leech on the A1, increased healing across your whole team, decreased defense, and that block buffs debuff on a 310 cooldown as well on the A2. Yeah, Ugo's incredible. Ugo's obviously an absolutely S tier epic champion into Hydra, into most dungeons, into all wave content, and now probably going to be very good as well into Chimera. She also brings a little bit of debuff cleanse as well on the A3, as well as a whole bunch of healing on the A3. She just brings it all, man. And would you know it, you can get your hands on Ugo completely for free. You knew it was coming, man. Using my beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box, man. 4 free epic champions, the starter of which will be good old Ugo herself. And it's just the best beginner promo link going for starting off a new raid account, man. So if you're looking for a clean start, you feel like you botched your opener and you want a fresh go at it, or you're just looking to set up a new second account or third account, some of you people are insane, to start off like a new free-to-play challenge or something like that, then that beginner promo link is the one to do it. Next up, as far as supports go, I can't not just include Doom Priest. Honestly, I've seen nobody talk about Doom Priest in the context of Chimera, but with the amount, there's just the sheer amount of debuffs that you're receiving, and not just debuffs, but hard crowd control debuffs, right? stuns, petrifications, provokes, right? These debuffs that are just really annoying, that if they land on your cleanser and then suddenly your cleanser's stunned or provoked, you're in a lot of trouble, right? They're not going to be able to get their cleanse off. Doom Priest doesn't have to worry about that. You just build her as fast as possible, ideally in something like a Relentless set, so she gets like a free turn every now and again, and then her passive is just going to trigger as much as possible, right? It's just a mini heal across your whole team every time she gets a turn and removes one random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. Even if she's stunned, she'll just cleanse the stun off of herself. Even if she's provoked, this passive is still going to trigger and cleanse the provoke off of herself. So on and so forth, right? Doom Priest is just great. And if you're lacking speed auras in all battles as well, and you're going into like a magic affinity Chimera, and you want to run like a very, very heavy force team, maybe her aura will come in clutch as well. Doom Priest is just insane, man. I think no champion has ever impressed me so much and really like blew me away so much as to just how much, like, I thought she was just very average. I tried her out. Oh my god. Like, she actually opened the door for Hydra for me on this main account for the very first time, like 6 months in or something. Next up, man, heading into the Undead Hordes, we've got good old, where is he? Oh, there he is. He's right next to my mouse. Good old Mausoleum Mage. This is a champ that I actually have empowered up quite a bit, and I've got like a 5-star soul waiting for him. Maybe I should build him out myself, man, but Mausoleum Mage, great support into this area of the game. He brings a decreased speed debuff for a couple of turns, which is usable against this clan boss, against the Chimera clan boss, which lovely to have. Brings an increased crit rip buff, increased defense, and a block debuffs buff on all allies on a 310 cooldown as well on his A2. That block debuff's going to be exceptionally useful in particular. And then he brings even more debuff cleanse and some healing as well on a 410 on his A3. Again, just another great one of those kind of all-rounder supports. I tell you what, man, I'm gonna start scrolling down, man, and check on what people have rated in Chimera so far. Obviously, in-game reviews are always a little bit all over the place. With only 6 ratings on Mausoleum Mage, who knows, man? Maybe he ain't all of that. Kind of tough to trust those reviews. Now, what's also interesting about Chimera is that you can use block active skills champions to pretty good effect in Chimera, and one of those champs that's never really found a concrete place in the game, but might now actually be doing a little bit of something, is going to be good old Ward Painted. This is a champion that I love the idea of her kit, it just didn't have a use in the game, but now that Chimera is released, and some of those mechanics could actually work into Chimera, she brings multiple block active skills abilities as well as a bunch of healing, right? So the A1 is a double hitter with a 30% chance on each hit of placing block active skills, lovely. And on the A3, attack one enemy, 100% chance of placing block active skills for 2 turns on a 310 cooldown. So it's very probable that you're going to have super high uptime on this block active skills debuff. Just a very nice to have against the Chimera boss. And then on her A2, she brings removes all debuffs from this champion and 1 random debuff from all allies. Great. Then heals this champion by 100% of their max HP. So you want to build a to be quite stocky, right? And heals all allies equal to 50% of the surplus heal. Great, okay, so just some great like team-wide healing, debuff cleanse, all of that good stuff. Then afterwards, place a 30% reflect damage buff on all allies for 2 turns, then grant her an extra turn to get around to using her A3 even faster again. So, dude, she actually brings a lot of stuff that could be really cool and interesting into Chimera. Now, where else in the game is she useful? That's a little bit tough to say. What do the in-game reviews say, man? Let's take a quick look. Yeah, she's like very average. Like most other areas of the game, she's kind of mostly just useful for, I mean, the reflect damage buff is fine. Doesn't really do a whole lot, but she's mostly useful as just a healer. A lot of people will build her out and put her in a reflex set, and then just never use the A3, so that she's just getting maximum cooldown reduction all the time, just over and over on this A2, and she's just spamming it, and she's just used as a healer and cleanser. But I don't know, man. Very interesting champion, and you know what? A new door might have opened up for her to step on through with the introduction of Chimera, man. Good old Ward Painted, dude. I hope that she's good. She deserves a place in the game. God damn it. Next up, we've got good old reliable and trusty Stag Knight, man, because of course we have. I mean, not only does he bring the attack all enemies, decrease defense, decrease attack debuff on the A2, which is just fine into clan boss to have, into Chimera to have. On his A1, he also brings a double hitter, with each hit having a very high chance relative to other epic champions of placing decreased speed, and so very reliable decreased speed debuff. Great variety in debuffs on his A2 as well. It's actually kind of tough to name a single area of the game where Stag Knight isn't good. He's kind of like one of those champions, like sort of like Duck the Pierced, Stagnite. I think there's one or two others that are just sort of good everywhere. You know, so if you're using them in the early game, in the early months of your account, to just progress into multiple areas of the game, he's probably going to scale up pretty well, or pretty decently as like a starter champion for getting started in Chimera for the very first time. Next up, man, let's talk some hard supports here. Next up is actually going to be a Void champion, so it's a little bit of a cheat, to be honest, but we're going to go ahead and throw him in. This is the first Void we covered. We already covered more than one Void here. Can't really keep track, but Runekeeper Desdek, it's one of those champs that pops up all the... Whenever a new piece of content comes out, or, you know, somebody struggling with supporting duties in basically any area of the game, you can always just turn to Runekeeper Desdek. It's really all about his A3, to be honest. Remove all debuffs from all allies on a 4-turn cooldown, then heal all allies by 25% of this champion's max HP, and place a continuous heal buff for 2 turns on allies that have a debuff removed, which they almost always will against Chimera. Now, the reason that this is particularly effective against Chimera is because I can't remember which head it is that will go ahead and like steal all of your buffs or remove all of your buffs or whatever. But there's one of the heads of Chimera, or one of the forms of Chimera, that's going to try and steal or disrupt all of your buffs, but it does not affect continuous heal. It will fail to remove the continuous heal buff. And so continuous heal buffs are actually, they just get like a little bump in value against Chimera that is worth noting. And so, yeah, Runekeeper Desdek is going to be amazing thanks to this A3. He does also bring the bonus leech on the A1, increased attack buff, 10 meter fill on allies as well on the A2. So the reason that 10 meter fill and increased speed and stuff on your team is going to be particularly effective into Chimera is because you're very, very limited in time against Chimera. It's 65 turns and then you're done. The fight ends no matter what. And most importantly, it's boss turns that are being counted, right? Once the boss has taken 65 turns, the fight ends instantly. That means you want your Chimera teams to be as fast as humanly possible, and so any 10 meter fill support champs that you can kind of just toss onto the team and hope for the best are going to be great. So Runekeeper Desdek is one of those nerds. Another that we've also got to throw in, just for the sake of it, man, is going to be To Go, another champ who's just kind of good everywhere. Brings an increased defense buffer that buffs the champion with the lowest current HP on his A1, so kind of interesting, unique A1. Brings an increased speed buff and a team-wide heal on his A2 on a 3-turn cooldown. Just very, very nice to have. Again, it's going to speed up the pace of the team by a hell of a lot. And then he also brings a revive all dead allies as well on his A3, which is just a lovely, lovely fail-safe to have. Now, another champ that I saw discussed recently by a few folks, actually by like Ash and I think Nubs were talking about it in their collaboration video that they did, is Scathix, which is never a champ I would have thought of myself. I've got to be honest, I never would have even looked at the Lizardmen faction, to be totally frank, but they're totally right, man. Decreased speed debuff on the A1. Lovely. I mean, he's again just like a support style champ, but decreased speed debuff for a couple of turns on the A1. Has to attack all enemies, has a chance of stealing one random buff from each enemy on the A2. Again, you're going to have your buffs stolen quite often against this boss, and so having the ability to steal the buffs back and steal the boss's increased speed buff in particular is going to be very, very important indeed. And then he has a whole bunch of debuff removal on his A3 and place a block debuffs buff and a shield buff on all allies for a couple of turns as well on a 4-turn cooldown on his A3, and the shield buff stacks based on Scathix's HP, so to build him nice and chunky, nice and tanky, and you are kind of good to go. And also on his passive, place a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn whenever their HP drops below 30%. I'm pretty sure that the Chimera, with certain trials, very, very quickly gets a way to sort of circumvent block damage buffs, but you know what, it's there. Now, I will stress that I haven't touched on a lot of damage dealers in this list. I'm going to go ahead and compile a fresh list to put up maybe tomorrow in like an episode 2, I guess, of this video. And just use some time to test some things out myself and just gather some knowledge, man. Gather some data before we go ahead and shoot a video out like that. Also, feel free to suggest more champions in the comments, man. One champion that I'm going to include in this video as more of a meme than anything. I would love somebody to test this out and report back. 99% chance that it's absolutely trash, but how funny would it be if Lord and Legionary was good into Chimera? Like, he's very single target focused. Right now, he's like fine. He's like a 7 out of 10 champ or something to bring in for Fire Knight progression, but that's like the only place he's even considered. But I swear, dude, if this guy's like, he's got a double hit at A1, heal reduction. He does have a 3-turn cooldown. Very, very buck hungry. But he does have a 3-turn cooldown, decreased speed debuff, that he could keep active for a couple turns, you know, he could keep active throughout the fight. And on his A3, he brings reflect damage and continuous heal for a couple of turns. It is on a 4-turn cooldown, which Sucks a little bit, it's not 100% uptime or anything, but if Reflect Damage turns out to be really good and worth bringing against the Lion form of Chimera, who knows? Also, Continuous Heal, like I said, it's a bit tougher for the boss to remove. Continuous Heal. Maybe Lordy Legionary could come in as more of a support champion and really do something. Again, I'm more including him because it's just funny. It's just funny to speculate about things like this, you know, when a new boss comes out, and could it actually work? Could it actually be a thing, man? Has anybody even thought of trying Lordly Legionary into Chimera? Is he good as a budget option? Could he justify his own existence? Bringing him in as a support champion and not an attack champion, you're going to be building like a lot of defense on this guy just to stop him from dying a horrible, painful death, screaming in agony as he goes, you know, as he heaves his last and twitches his last. But I just wonder if the tools that he brings might not be worth it, man. Reflect Damage, Continuous Heal, consistent decreased speed. Quite a lot of skill bucks to get him there, but still, it would be really, really funny if somebody did try him out. Now that all of that is said and done, it's got to be said, it kind of been alluded to. Did I allude to it at the start of the video? If I didn't, then I should allude to it right now. And that's that if you get any support champion on your account that has like 3 or more buffs that they're applying to the whole team. In the case of Glycad, it's increased attack, perfect veil, increased accuracy, and increased defense. If you have any champion that's got like 3 or more buffs, if you can get them in a 9-piece protection set against the Chimera boss, oh my god, you're gonna have an incredibly good time. So this is more like, this is not about like calling out Glycad or whatever, this is about calling out the protection set, man. This boss is gonna be stripping your buffs like crazy, removing buffs, stealing buffs all the time, if it can. So if you can protect those buffs and just keep a good amount of your buffs well and good in terms of being protected and unstealable and unremovable and have good buff uptime, then slamming one of your support champions that brings the most buffs to your team in a protection set is gonna pay off massively. For me, like I say, I've been playing the game for an entire year. I've been farming Hydra for like 5 or 6 months of that time. I would love to have good old Glycad of the Meltwater in a protection set. I've got like 1 protection accessory for Sylvan Watchers. I'm still waiting on like Amulet and Banner. It's really bad. It's really, really tough. Oh god. It is so completely RNG based as well as to whether or not you get the huge power spike from 9-piece protection, but just keep all of your protection accessories. I will say that as soon as you're farming Hydra, keep all of those accessories. Doesn't matter how bad they are, how terrible they seem, if it's a banner with the most useless flat stat you've ever seen, just hold on to it, because that protection set is going to be crucially important. Alright guys, get your suggestions for Chimera champs down below in the comments. What have you been using in your current Chimera teams? Do let me know. And while you're down there, man, why not go ahead and sign up to Raid and start off your second account today, man, with my good old beginner promo link, man. 4 free Epic Champions, best beginner promo link going. Alright, man. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck in the Chimera boss. And I'm going to catch all of you guys in the next one, man.